Graduates this year. And Eugene, you just come stand right here. Let me tell you, while he's coming up here, let me tell you a little bit about Eugene. I think he's got a degree in music, and he's very talented. He plays the keyboards, he plays the trumpet, and maybe a few other instruments. And if you see he's having a little trouble getting around, he's also a cancer survivor. And about probably less than 2 years ago, 2 of our men got sick around the same time. The same week they both went in the hospital. One of them was Eugene Waller, the other one was Mr. Underwood. And so they were both in the hospital. I saw both of them at Methodist Central on Christmas Day, Christmas before last, I think it was. And so eventually Underwood went to Galloway Nursing Home. Is it Galloway Nursing Home? And Eugene didn't know about that. So later Eugene, he goes to Galloway Nursing Home, and he gets to talking to the guys over there, and they mentioned Underwood, his buddy that went in the hospital at the same time. But Underwood had passed away. And they said, by the way, Eugene, you're in Underwood's room. And then they said, by the way, you're in Underwood's bed that he used to have. And so eventually Eugene was discharged, and we had to wait for a bunk to open up here. And so I was telling this story in chapel one night, and Eugene interrupted me, and he said, by the way, Brother Bob, the bed that opened up at Calvary was Underwood's bed. And so we thank God that he quit following Underwood for the time being, and he has really done a great job with the discipleship program. So Eugene, you come up here, and let me just shake your hand. Mr. Larry, we'll get a picture right here. Thank you so much. Good job. All right, also, give him a big hand. He's really worked hard. He also had a cracked hip, likely due to that chemotherapy. So remember Eugene in your prayers, if you would. Okay, now hiding out here somewhere is a guy named Alan Jones. There he is, right there. Alan, come on up here, buddy. Let me tell you about Alan while he's coming up here. Mr. Alan Jones, I kid you not, this is one of the best men I've ever met in my life. And he is a good, good brother. Alan, you can come up here. You can come all the way up. Come on up here. Come on up here. He can pick me up and carry me up here. I want to tell one quick story about Alan. Years ago, we were having a problem with these trees on the other side of the building raking against the roof, 20 feet up in the air. And they were clogging the gutter up and so forth. And so I said, well, I wish we could get some chainsaws and get over there and clear all that off. Well, I came in the next morning and I said, my goodness, did MLGW come through here? Because it was all cleared off. They said, no, Alan did that with a handsaw. And he's a good man. He's a good man. And Alan, you have done a great job with the discipleship program, and we're so thankful for everything you do for Calvary. And even though he's going back to work full-time, I think, tomorrow, he waited just for this. Thank you for doing that. But he is still volunteering to help us with the yard work. And I want to make sure they say that publicly, so love you, brother. I love you, Alan. You get your certificate to you here. Thank you so much. I thank you. Give him a big hand. And we have one other graduate that is graduating in absentia. That is Mr. Donald Wimberly, who I think is still over close to Chattanooga, Tennessee, but he's moved on. He's doing well and could not be here with us today, so we thank God for him. Amen. All right, I don't have a program with me, but I think it's Miss Betty Hatcher, our co-founder, coming up at this time. Let's give her a big hand today.
I don't think I want to try to hold that I'd rather have freedom with my hands. Such a blessing to see all of you here today. I was thinking back about 48 years ago whenever we opened up the rescue mission over in a little small, can it be turned up? In a little small storefront over on Jackson Avenue, next door to Jay and Jesse's Lounge. Never would I have believed that today I would be standing up here 48 years later and seeing so many dear friends that have been praying for us, loving, and supporting us with encouragement as well as funds during these 48 years. Thought I heard it ringing. I was just wondering, how many of you here for the first time at Calvary Rescue Mission? Raise your hands. Well, we've got how many of you are here because a friend invited you to come today? How many of you saw us on Facebook and decided to come today? No? We're going to have to work on that. How many of you came because you heard us on Bite Radio about the dinner today? When we were in that first little building over on Jackson Avenue, we had a PA system that we put up against the wall, which was right at Jay and Jesse's Lounge. And Jessie would turn up the jukebox as loud as she could to try to drown out the message on our side. I can remember one time when they had on there, "I didn't know God made honky-tonk angels." And Milton hollered back, "He didn't!" We have actually had men that were sitting on bar stools in Jay and Jesse's, and they heard the message coming through the speaker and through the wall there. And they got up off of their bar stools and went out the door and came into our door and were crying that God had spoke to their heart, that they had a grandmother that had been praying for them for years, and they had to get saved. So if any of you have loved ones that you've been praying for a long time, don't give up. We never know when God's going to have them in a place where they'll hear the gospel and receive Him. You know, we were there for a while, and then we moved from there to London and Dudley, which was Central Cumberland Presbyterian Church. And Urban Renewal was taking the property, and Central had built a new church, which is out there, 6325 Poplar, where Kirby Woods Baptist Church is. And Brother Latimer asked Milton, would we like to use the building until Urban Renewal took it? Well, we were excited because it was a nice big building, had a nice kitchen. So we moved over there, and really it was such a blessing. But as the time drew nearer, Urban Renewal was going to take the property. We didn't know where we were going to go. And Dave Burkhart, an attorney, contacted us and said, there's a building over on 960 South 3rd. Go look at it and see if it's in something you can use. So we came over, and the building had been firebombed when Martin Luther King was assassinated. It was in bad shape. Milton called Dave back and said, I don't know, it's got a lot of work to be done. And he said, well, if it was, you got it for $1 a year for 20 years, would you be interested? And Milton said, the price is right. So we were celebrating and thanking the Lord. And Dave called back and he said, hey, they've changed their mind. They don't want to pay taxes on that building, that property, said they want to just give it to you. So that was such a blessing. We were able to bring these stained glass windows out of Central Church, and we have them in our chapel. And we would love any of you that have never been through the building, if you would like to go through afterwards, we would be delighted We have the stained glass windows in our chapel upstairs. In our dining room, we have the nice big mirrors that were in the Peabody Hotel before they did a renovation a few years back. So those are really nice. And we've got a couple of washer and dryer that back in 1970 when the Baptist Mission was closing down on Linden Avenue, that they let us have. And would you believe that God has kept those washer and dryer all through these years, and they're still working. Do have to have a repairman quite frequently, but anyway, they're still working. And that's important with all the sheets and towels that have to be done. But anyway, God has been so good, and we're just so thankful for the way He has blessed. And we are, as you know, wanting to build a new building. If you go in, you'll notice we have to go down the steps to go to the area to check in, up the steps for the men to go to their shower area, up the steps to go to the chapel. You take Eugene, and a lot of the men really have problems, and we need a building that is handicap accessible all on one level so that we don't have those problems. I know a lot of you, it makes it hard to go up and down the steps. We also want to have a training room where we'll be able to train the men, have them, a lot of them haven't received their high school education, so we want to be able to have them get their GEDs and also to be able to be more able to get jobs and everything. So that's one thing we're really looking forward to having. We serve the men daily, food, clothing, but you know, our main thing is what our mission statement is rebuilding the lives of homeless men. And I don't know whether Sammy, is he still here or not? Sammy Armstead, he had to leave, go back to work. Sammy he's our poster boy, I guess we would say. It is such a blessing how he came from underneath the bridge over in Arkansas, came, got saved, got married, has a home, works for Corky's. He has the Church Without Doors behind FedEx Forum, and he's on our board of directors. And if you pick up one of our newsletters as you leave, you'll see the article about Jimmy. He now is driving the MATA bus for the city. And there's so many men that we can tell you about that have had real changes, and that's what we want to do, is try to be able to help more men be productive. And if you'll make your way up here, we're so thankful that the Lord laid on Ann's heart. Ann has been recently retired. She has had many years productively doing fundraising for Baptist Hospital, St. Jude, and Christian Revolution, different places, very successful, and she has donated her time to try to work with us to help raise our funds so that we can get our new building. We are a little over $1.5 million in our fund now, and it's going to take almost $3 million to build the building. So we're, about halfway mark as far as the actual building. But anyway, I'm going to let Ann share a few words with you.
Well, as Betty said, I retired from a fundraising career, and I had been praying about what am I going to do. I don't want to be bored. I don't want to just sit home and twiddle my thumbs. And so I had a phone call, and it was Betty. And so we started talking, and she told me, about how they were trying to raise money for the new building, and things had kind of slowed down a little bit. So next thing I know, I'm a volunteer, and I'm just having a good time. But and as Betty likes to tell, she brought me over here one day, and if you remember the song, Just One Look, that's all it took. Well, that was me, because when I saw the place here, it's wonderful, and it's doing a good job, but I saw the need for the new building, and we've got some brochures made at the back that have a picture of what will be when the new building is completed. As Betty said, one of the things we're trying to do is get to our halfway mark, and we're getting close. But one of the things that we can do as donors, and my husband Dewey and I are donors, is to fill out, if you will, there's on your table a pledge form. And if you are giving, like if you were giving $100 a year, then if you are planning to give $100 next year and the next, then you can fill out the pledge form, and that can count as a gift, a pledge toward the building campaign. So that greatly increases the amount that we're giving. So if you're going to give $1,000 a year over 5 years, that's $5,000, and all you're doing is making a commitment that you're going to help support Calvary Rescue Mission through those years. And we can use that. We just had a phone call, was it yesterday, from the Plow Foundation here in Memphis, and they have invited us to submit a grant application for $200,000. And we don't have it yet, so it's due Monday. So we've got a lot of work to do to get that ready, but it would be really wonderful if we could say we're halfway there. So thank you all you donors, and all of you that support with your volunteer work and time here at Calvary Rescue Mission. Thank you.
I just wanted to say one more thing. If you go down and look in the dorm area and see in a little less than 1,100 square feet, and when you look at your house, the number of square feet you have, to have 48 men sleeping in less than 1,100 square feet, it really is close quarters, and it would be such a blessing to be able to have more space than the men having a jail cell to sleep in at night. Thank y'all so much.
All right, we are just getting close to the close of our program here, but we have one very special treat left today. Miss Betty's granddaughter, Miss Betty's daughter Kathy's here with us today, Kathy Hatcher. And Kathy does so much behind the scenes for Calvary.